Hi, it's Chris with Implied Music, and today I want to talk about a not very well known classical composer who just passed away last week, Alvin Lucier. Lucier was a pioneer of electro-acoustic music, a big influence on composers I've talked about before on the channel, um, and also the inventor of a couple of great tricks. Well, let's take a look at it today. 1969, Lucier recorded his seminal piece, perhaps his best known piece, I Am Sitting in a Room. I was aware of his work from that time because it really is quite remarkable. And we'll talk about it and get into it in a second. But I just want to say that for many years, he taught at Wesleyan University. And when I was at school in Western Massachusetts, I had an opportunity to take a seminar with him at school. And just a really sharp guy, like a lot of electroacoustic composers. His mind was always going forward, thinking about different ways to handle sound. In those days, and we're talking about the 60s and 70s, sound was recorded to tape with microphones in rooms, and then the tape was manipulated. We also used synthesizers. And Lucier's innovation was to actually incorporate the sound of the room into the compositional process. I want to show you the text of I'm Sitting in a Room. Lucier sat in a room and recorded this onto his tape deck. And as you can see, the actual text is an instruction about what's going to happen. And in fact, that's what happened. The recording of it is available online, and I recommend you listen to it. And people have done this piece again and again and again. It's fascinating. As each iteration is re-recorded, the resonant frequencies of the room, the noise of the tape deck, the microphone, everything is amplified and gets printed to tape, is amplified again, so that by the end, and really not even by the end, you get something quite different. Well, I thought to myself, how can I do that in Logic? Okay, here we are in Logic. So I recorded a very simple little statement. Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 merrily. Life is but a dream. And on that track, vocal 1, I just put in a space designer. Very simple room in a house. I experimented with a couple of different things. This convolution reverb, and convolution reverb is, of course, essentially recording the sound of a room. This convolution reverb is a small room, 1 second, and I realized that I had to do all my iterations with like 100% wet and no dry. So I very simply did this. I selected the audio file and bounced it in place. And when you bounce it in place, which is Control B, you get an option to bypass effects plugins. No. Include volume pan automation. Well, maybe. And overload protection only. And when I did that, I got a new audio file. And what I did was I grabbed that audio file and moved it up back onto that same track and then did it again. And I did it 20 times. Let's listen to the effect. So you can see actually I left all the tracks that are created accidentally, but you heard the first one. Let's listen to the second one. This is just the sound of the room. Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 merrily. Life is but a dream. And then the third. Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. You can hear the resonances starting to build up. Merrily, merrily. Life is but a dream. Row, At some point, things start to get really unintelligible. Let's skip forward. Here we're hearing kind of only the resonances. Skipping forward, the resonances begin to build up. And as you can see on the waveform, and I should make this bigger, they actually begin to increase in amplitude. I can no longer hear the speech. And I'm going to warn you, this is very high, weird, high frequency sound. By the end, all that's left is this. Strange and beautiful. Doesn't really change that much going forward. Lucier had a single idea, and he implemented it with grace and rigor. Can you imagine the process of sitting in a room with a tape deck doing that again and again? I just did 20 of those. I had to fiddle with things a little bit, but it took me no time at all, I'll just say, using the digital audio workstation. I will say this, the convolution reverb is not a real world situation. And as a result, I think that I got kind of weird, stilted results, right? Those resonant frequencies are the only frequencies that are possible probably in that particular convolution sample. And there probably are better convolution reverbs to try. I could have used a little tape saturation. I could have had a filter to kind of emulate the effect of tape. In any case, I kind of got an interesting result. What would happen if we tried this with drums, with a synth pad, with a lead line? Iteration after iteration. In the old days, we used to plant our face on the Xerox machine, copy it, and then copy the copy, and then copy the copy, and then copy that copy. Interesting results, a lot of fun. Well, I want to remind you, you have a couple of days left to join the Holiday Subscriber Challenge. There's a link in the description. Martin Heidenreich and I are getting everybody together to do a version of Silent Night. It's a blast. I've heard some of the submissions, and they're all over the place. There's no wrong answer. Well, I hope this has been useful. Look up Alvin Lucier. Look up Karl-Heinz Stockhausen. Look up Dahlia Derbyshire. All these amazing electro-acoustic musicians of the 60s, late 50s, 70s. Their influence echoes down to today. Like and subscribe. I'll see you guys next time.